I'm trying to make a mobile game on an Android phone. Does that make sense? No. Epic. I'm trying to make a full game on an Android phone using Godot's game engine. I did learn game development with Unity game engine, and for 4 years, I think I didn't really touch the game engine anymore or be in the game world and everything that revolves around game dev for the longest while. Up until recently, which I discovered Godot's game engine, and it has been amazing after watching Bracky's YouTube tutorial. And I've tried to make video games on it now. What is this video game about? It's a semi-open world or semi-open world or maybe full-on open world puzzle game. Carlos Principle is already there, or I don't know, The Witness is another open world puzzle game. Those are amazing, but the issue with puzzle games for me is the fact that I don't really enjoy puzzle games, normal puzzle games. Is that they just go from one level to another, or they lack some kind of story behind it. Take for example Baba Is You, which is a very amazing game with the blocks and everything. The moment I tried to play it, my brain just shut off, and Mark Brown's GMTK did an amazing job making a video game with story, but he didn't really do a full-on good job by nailing the whole storytelling part. That's what I'm trying to do now, nailing the whole storytelling part. This game is quite inspired by a couple of other games. I did look at Hollow Knight, I look at Mark Brown's Mind Over Magnet, there was Baba Is You, and even Spelunky, because this game are all in 2D, and the game I'm trying to make is also in 2D, which is not really much, but the biggest inspiration do come from this game, The Swindle, which happens to be my favorite in the game, because it's going to be about the same setting, but my own game is going to be mostly on the story side, with more story heavy element, not a lot of action, violence or something like that, but a lot of decision making, morality things. That's what I'm trying to go for. Why did I choose mobile game dev in the first place? Well, it's simple. I had a laptop I was using to learn Unity, which happened to be faulty, and I had to get rid of. Now I couldn't make video games or anything using my laptop for a while, but up until last 3 months or last month, when I discovered Godot's game engine, and I tried to make a video game, mini games, but my head couldn't settle on which type of mini game to make, and I was still having difficulty issues and so many other ideas. So I just closed it for a while. Then about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, it came to my mind that I should make a puzzle game. I don't really like puzzle games, but maybe I can make a puzzle game I would like to play. That's what I am trying to do. And for using Godot's game engine over Unity, this is pretty self-explanatory because Godot's game engine is available on Android. So usability is easy for me, and I can actually make progress while making the game, versus when I'm using Unity, which I have to use a laptop for to install the whole SDK thing and visual community and whatever. So Godot's game engine on my phone actually makes it a lot easier to make a video game. What I'm going to be using are my keyboard, a USB connector, and a mouse that I bought. Then picking and learning an engine has been, let me say, a tough one so far, because I did try to learn it by myself, like I did with Unity, try to explore a little bit, but shifting from Unity to Godot was a little bit difficult. Godot's game engine had a little different system than Unity that I started with. Unity was a little bit hand holding, but Godot doesn't hold your hand a lot. It just lets you loose into its own ecosystem. I did watch Bracket's tutorial, like I mentioned earlier, the 1 hour, I think 1 hour plus, almost 1 hour YouTube tutorial, and it was amazing. And I've learned to use that as the basis of the game that I'm trying to make. When it came to the mechanic, I was a little bit lost trying to come up with different mechanic like time echo or clones like in the grade game, like existence budget, there was memory corruption, there was many different type of listing I could do, telekinesis, but I finally settled on teleportation, which is just the basic. This is just the easiest option, but there has to be a way for me to kind of upscale it, make it a little bit difficult for players to kind of think outside the box. Teleportation should be able to get the player from one place easily to another, but at the same time, we should be used to solve a lot of puzzles, unlock new areas, and determine how the story will progress from here on out. And making a story, I've been inspired by a lot of other games too. Like I said, morality is one thing I'm trying to go for in this video game. By example, Arcane, the two-sided story from Arcane or Attack on Titan. So those two are the biggest inspiration for this, and like other games too did inspire this game in a way, like the Dishonored Chaos System and many others I can't really think of right now, but I did look at those parts and I'm still coming up with a story which I believe will take the whole of this whole game dev journey, because you don't come up with one story immediately and just finalize it there. There'll be tweaks along the way when it comes to the game design and how it will flow together with the whole game dev thing. I'm thinking of going with pixel art, but like Mark Brown did, which actually ended up becoming a problem eventually. I think I might hold back on the pixel art, but I'm going to use it to develop the game as of now, to make a basic and fundamental parts of the game, from movements to characters and everything like that. I'll use it as a placeholder, but then when I am ready to actually make the full-on characters, maybe I'll just use an application like Krita, which is available on Android also, or I will just outsource that depending on how that goes. And also, during this series, I'll be trying to make mini games to give myself this sense of completion when it comes to video games, because over the longest time I've been trying to make video games for 4 years, which is a very filled game dev career. By making mini games, it will help me own my skills in Godot, and it will give me a sense of progress every time I have to release another new mini game while I'm still working on this thing, because I will learn something from the mini game which I might be able to implement in the full project of this game. I don't really have a title for the game to either yet, which is still work in progress, but this will be the first video in the archive series, and as I go on, I'll be making more to update how the game dev process is going.